But look what happened with COVID. From on high, they handed down, make them go home, send them home. Tell them to come back when their PO2 is 80. That was astonishing to me.
What do you mean?
They sent people home without care a lot.
Wasn't that not because they were overwhelmed?
It was, they didn't want to become overwhelmed. They didn't want to become infected, and they were told from on high what to do rather than what they wanted to do. And they just did it. They just complied.
Wait, can I ask you then, do you believe in socialized medicine or a two-tier system? What do you think the fix is?
I think the fix is a tiered system of some type, because people are always going to want to be able to go to the market and get whatever they need if they can afford it. They just want to do that. But if there's got to be some other way of doing this than the way we're doing it. One of the things that make insurance is like a utility, where they just are regulated completely and can't do what they want to do as a business. Because as a business, their priorities are messed up.
The same as the pharma business.
Well, pharma's, the relationship between the regulators and the pharmaceutical industry. I didn't know. COVID exposed so much for me. Naive me. I'm just practicing medicine. I don't think about it. I didn't know so many of us were employees. I didn't know that all the FDA officials go on to be pharmaceutical executives and vice versa, and the CDC, and they go back and forth. It's wild, that relationship. It is so adulterated.
You've been very vocal about your opinion on the way we handled COVID, from like being very staunch one way to issuing an apology, and then you're still being very vocal about how we handled it and all that stuff. So how do you feel now about COVID? I know before you were very...
The reason I apologize is because my family started getting death threats. And I'm happy to apologize if I got something wrong, and I'm sure I got some stuff wrong, and so I apologize for it. But when you look back, I got just about everything right, it turned out. But people said I was wrong.
So you're rescinding the apology?
No, I'm happy to apologize.
Don't get his family in trouble.
Okay, I'm not. I'm
plus,
just asking.
I don't rescind. I apologize. I was hubristic. I was over my skis. I was trying to make a point, which was, my point was, and I overstated it. I made a bunch of errors, and I apologize for that. But my point was at the time was, we just had a pandemic. Are you aware that we had a pandemic just before COVID? Are you aware?
No.
Nobody was aware.
What was the pandemic?
H1N1, and it killed 300,000 people. And you don't even know it happened, and we had a pandemic. And my point was, yes, this one is going to be bad. It's going to be worse. But isn't there, we have to go from nothing to complete disaster? There seems like there was an intermediate zone. And I kept saying... But
here's what I'll ask you as a layman.
Wait, I want to hear what you...
And just, at the end of every of those statements, what I kept saying was, please just listen to the CDC, listen to Dr. Fauci. They will get us through this. Just calm down. Stop this. Don't listen to the press. Don't listen to the New York Times. Listen to those guys. Now, they got all panicky too. I didn't know they were going to get quite over their skis the way they did. But I was deep in the AIDS epidemic. I was deep in that. That's why I got involved in radio, was because of AIDS.
Right.
And Fauci was my hero my entire career. Career. So you were saying, I'm sorry.
No, I didn't want to stop you. I'm sorry if I interrupted. What I was saying was, science is an evolution.
It's a procedure.
And continues to be an evolution.
Always.
So what I found fascinating and scary was, whether it was Fauci, you, anybody who had a microphone or had a soapbox, when they said this is what needs to be done.
Yeah.
First of all, the uproar for whatever needs to be done is not worthy of an uproar.
Yeah.
And when that changes, it's not you're wrong. It's we learned more.
Yeah.
Nobody's getting that uproarious when you hear, coffee's bad for you. Coffee's good for you. You shouldn't have wine. Now we can have wine. Now, and the truth of the matter is that COVID, maybe for the average healthy young person without any mitigating, underlying, they were possibly okay. The flu kills a lot of people. H1N1 kills a lot of people. But this was, in the rest homes and things like that, it was killing people like crazy.
Yeah.
And I think what people forgot was, it's not only about you, and we don't think about us. Mm-hmm. And my biggest fear on COVID was not that I would die, not that I would give it to somebody that would die, and I don't want to be the one that gives you that, that passes that along. So I don't know why everybody got so angry and political. And
Well, the part that's lingering is the part where the people that had an opinion not just crushed alternative opinions, but destroyed people's lives. I know extremely decorated academics and professors that lost their jobs, have destroyed their lives because they raised their hand and said, I'm not sure this is the way, there might be a better way to do this. That's all they said. I think we have a better way to do this. Let's really focus on the elderly people. Let's think about, then no, you're destroyed. And those people are pissed now. They still remain pissed because they were really, that was a miscarriage of
did you have an
of
opinion that
science.
has changed?
My opinions change all the time. Yeah, for sure. Just like you're saying, it changed all the time. I'm, let's see, how would it have changed? I probably was more concerned about young people in COVID than I should have been,
Right.
given the data. I vaccinated everybody aggressively. I had an opinion about the way we rolled the vaccine out. I think that was kind of odd and weird, and particularly in California, it didn't make sense, and it did not specifically service the people at risk. And
Well, didn't they roll it out where the older people were first? I remember we
not
taking that.
really. It was sort of more communities at risk, and it wasn't clear what that should be and who, and it was almost hospital by hospital had different policies. It was
Right.
very weird, and frankly, a hospital I was involved with just did a terrible job. And I was running around trying to get the vaccine, and I got COVID trying to get the vaccine. And in any event, and I was taking care of COVID patients and this group that we were trying to protect. The other thing is, I vaccinate my elderly patients and I boost them. Right. And the benefit is clear to me. It's absolutely clear that we did something extraordinary in terms of protecting the at-risk population. If I'm 25 years old, though, the risk of COVID now is zero. It's 0.00000, maybe 1. Risk of myocarditis is 1 in 800, or maybe let's say 1 in 5,000, just to be conservative. The risk reward isn't there. So I don't understand the excesses we're getting into.